Welcome, my friends, to our study for today on the CAPM exam. It's a pleasure to be speaking to you today. I know lots of you have got questions and concerns about this exam. Maybe you are a student taking the exam. This is where we get the opportunity speaking together, finding answers for questions that you may have on the CAPM exam. Let's jump into a few fast facts about the CAPM. CAPM exam stands for Certified Associate in Project Management. It's an entry-level certification you can take if you have a high school diploma. I have training for this course at tinyurl.com/elite CAPM if you are interested in learning. But let's talk about the CAPM at a high level. The CAPM exam is based on a document known as the CAPM Exam Content Outline. So if you're looking to get certified, I would love for you to download this free document that the PMI has made available. I'm going to put that in the chat. And it's a bit of a long link. There it is on the screen, but it's also in the chat. Okay. I'll also put this in the chat for my friends on Instagram so that they're able to download and use accordingly. All right, so without much ado, let's check out this document called the CAPM Exam Content Outline. This is what it looks like. CAPM Exam Content Outline gives you the blueprint for the CAPM exam. So it starts off with the domains in project management fundamentals, predictive, agile, and business. And I'll cover this at some point, but let's jump down into what exactly the exam entails. And let's go to this section, which gives us more clarity on the exam. Let's go in there. So as you can see here, it says CAPM eligibility requirements. To be eligible for the CAPM, you need a high school diploma, GED, or global equivalent, and must meet the project management education requirement. And you need 23 hours of education, right? So if you got a high school diploma, 23 hours of education from a course such as this one, right? CAPM Exam Masterclass, which you can find at tinyurl.com/elite CAPM, then you'll be able to get these 23 hours. And then all you need to do is study, take mock exams, take quizzes, and that will help you. As far as the exam breakdown, you got 150 questions, only 135 count, 15 are pre-test questions, which are more like experimental questions the PMI may consider putting into the pipeline in the future. It's a 3-hour exam. You got various kinds of questions. You got hotspots. You even have some questions that may look like a strip of a cartoon or something like that. And then you've got drag and drop kind of questions like this one, yeah, like this one, almost like, as it says, an animation. So you could get some like that, or the comic strip. There we go. So some of my students who passed the CAPM exam come back to say, I couldn't believe I had a comic strip on my exam. But that is pretty much how the questions are, and that is the format of the exam. If you have any specific questions that I can answer for you as we go through the content today, don't hesitate to put them into the chat, okay? So going back to the high-level overview about this exam, the CAPM exam, it on the surface looks like beginner, entry level, it's easy. It's actually not that easy. You do need to have solid knowledge and understanding of PMI's dogma regarding project management. And as far as the duration, how long it takes people to prepare, some people take 6 weeks, some even less. And it really depends on your aptitude for this kind of stuff. So for those of you who are looking to gain more responsibility, more skills, more recognition, this could be very good. So in the very beginning, when I started training the CAPM, I took it for granted that, okay, it's a slam dunk, it's easy, until students started coming back and saying, Phil, have you taken the CAPM? It's not an easy exam. It can be challenging. So I took them up on the challenge, even though I was already PMP certified, and I took the CAPM exam just for the experience, and it wasn't a cakewalk. I also learned from one of my students who eventually got certified. She got a big government job in Arizona. And that was the beginning of her climbing the ladder of project management. All she had was a CAPM. She didn't even have PMP. She climbed up to the ladder in that agency and she was in charge of the PMO and projects, almost like at the director level, all because of a CAPM that was considered when she went for the interview. So I want to encourage you, if you're looking at getting an entry level certification, maybe this one is one for you. So the CAPM exam consists of 4 domains: project management fundamentals and core concepts. If you've been tuned into my channel or my podcast, which is at pmradio.org, I'm going to put that in the chat as well. If you listen into my podcast regularly, you just pick up on a lot of this stuff. I talk about process groups, knowledge areas, agile, scrum, kanban, all that stuff. And if you're tuned into my podcast, you will come across a lot of this stuff being talked about very casually. So the project management fundamentals is knowing 5 process groups, the 10 knowledge areas, what exactly they do, the 49 processes. Then when you get into predictive, this is where you get more into the tools and the techniques and the approaches of project management. That's number 2. Number 3 is going more into agile frameworks, agile methods. And number 4 is going into business analysis frameworks. Again, if you're tuned into this channel on YouTube, it's youtube.com/@Praizion. If you are tuned into this channel, you're going to find tons of videos, lots of free stuff where I am teaching you either agile or scrum or just predictive, PMBOK guide, you name it. Okay, so check that out. When it comes to agile frameworks and methods, one of the best places to look for understanding about this is agilemanifesto.org. Go to agilemanifesto.org and you can learn up the 4 agile values and the 12 principles, which is very important for your exam as well. Okay, that's it on the screen, agilemanifesto.org. And when it comes to business analysis, this is a bit of a tricky one. For this, I believe we have extensive video about the business analysis section, not only in our course. So just as a reminder for those of you who are looking to get certified, let's take that off and put this on. You can go to tinyurl.com/elite-capm. And in this course, we have a very detailed account of the business domain. So you can see we broke it down into domain 1 is the basics, domain 2 is plan-based stuff, and then when it gets to agile, we're going deep into so much agile. You also have a 91 question quiz to help you. And then when it comes to the business analysis framework, we have so much content on the business analysis section of the exam. And rightfully so, because if you take a look at the exam breakdown one more time, what you see is business analysis is almost 1/3 of the exam. So you do need to know your business analysis stuff. And PMI has its own unique bend to business analysis. So we base the business analysis section in our course on the PMI standard for business analysis. Okay? So the tasks that you would find in domain 1, you got to understand what a project lifecycle is, understand that this is the work being done, but a project management lifecycle is really the 5 process groups, which brings in the subtleties of initiating to closing. And then we talk about project planning, all the dimensions of planning, roles and responsibilities of a project, problem solving tools and techniques to help project managers. Then we get into domain 2, which goes more into the predictive stuff. There's actually a very important document, and I know PMI, they often say this is based on, well, they say it's based on the content outline, but at the same time, you hear some murmurs of PMBOK 7. I want you to not only look at the 7th as they're recommending, but I want you to look at this map that I'm about to share on the screen. I'm going to put this in the chat as well. It's free, right? This is a map that will help you better understand how the 5 process groups and 10 knowledge areas come together. And I just recommend to anyone taking the exam, know this. Don't listen to the people who tell you, you don't have to know that. They're not going to test it. No, this is going to help you understand flow, and it's going to help you become more surgical and precise when you're taking the exam. So I know a lot of people say, well, it's just based on the seventh. It's actually not true. The CAPM exam, as you can see here, is not based on the PMBOK guide. PMBOK is just one of the books that you could read, but it's actually based on the content outline. And that's why for my book, by the way, you get this book free as part of my course on Udemy, right? So when you come on my program on Udemy, you got to ask me, Phil, can I get the free book? This book is 600 pages, but it goes into all the content you need to know, including this stuff. So if you're taking the CAPM exam, you got to understand your 5 process groups, your 10 knowledge areas, and your 49 processes. That is very important. So for those of you who have been wondering what is the syllabus, well, now you know the syllabus. I'm showing it to you. So for the predictive tasks, that link that I just shared, this one right here, yeah, you gotta look at that, and you gotta know your 49 processes well. Okay. Domain 3 goes more into the world of agile. You got to know when to use these adaptive approaches. And you also need to understand what it means to plan project iterations in the world of agile versus planning in predictive. It's different. You also need to understand the artifacts involved in the world of Scrum, for example. You also need to understand Scrum has a 353 configuration, which could come out in some of the questions implicitly or explicitly. And finally, domain 4, business analysis. You got to understand who the business analyst is, the lingo of business analysis. You got to be comfortable with it, stakeholder communication, gathering requests, things like the tools that you might use in Agile, only this time you are using them in a hybrid or a predictive world. So things like story mapping, requirements gathering, requirements elicitation, things like that. You got to know those well. And then there are also domains and areas of knowledge and processes in business analysis that we go in on the training. Again, the eligibility requirements, which we've looked at, you need to have a high school diploma and 23 hours of project management education. The exam has 150 questions, only 135 count. You got drag and drop hotspots and the like. You can take the exam 3 times in a year. If the candidate is not successful after 3 attempts, they must wait a year before reapplying. And you must earn, I believe it's 15 professional development units every 3 years. But if you are thinking of taking this exam, hey, start your journey today. Go on down to tinyurl.com/elite PMP for the cost of a few Starbucks. You can begin today. It's low cost, low risk. I made it so ridiculously inexpensive because I wanted to take that concern of money off the table. So you can see it's just $59.99. And this is a lifetime access course. You will always have access to this, and I'm going to be renewing it. It's very transparent, it's broken down easily. You got a final mock exam, and you also have the book. I am going to be sending you the book. So the moment you jump on, send me a message, Phil, I've joined. I'll send you a PDF download. It's free. You can see it's $49.99, but on this course, it's zero, zilch, nothing. So join the program. If you're stuck at any point, I'm very good with supporting you. Just send me a message. Let me know whatever your questions are, and I will assist you in either upping the ante on your knowledge, helping you get clarity, or giving you the moral support to get certified. Some of the links I shared in the very beginning, I shared the content outline for the CAPM, and I also shared my radio show for project managers, which you can learn by osmosis just listening, so many terms and ideas. I also shared the Praizion channel, and I also shared the Agile Manifesto link. And lastly, I shared the UCLA link to the 49 processes. All right. If you found value from this, my friend, smash the like button and subscribe to the channel. And if you're looking to get certified, begin your journey today. You can do it. Remember the story of my student out of Arizona. When there was the census, 2010 census, 2010. Some of you were like 15 back then. Isn't that crazy? But during the 2010 census, I had a number of students from a company called Vangent. And one of those students took the CAPM exam and went on to get a very high powered position in government space just because of the CAPM. Can you imagine that? It's pretty remarkable. A CAPM exam, how much is it? It's like $300, but it changed her life. Now she's a don, a boss. She said, Phil, I need to take the PMP at some point. Nah, she didn't even take it. She's flying high. Why am I telling you this story? I'm telling this story so you can understand the CAPM exam can be the beginning of great things. It can be the beginning of greater things in your career. For those of you who might be in between jobs and you're wondering, what am I going to do next? How do I up the ante on my employment situation? I want to encourage you to join me if you are unemployed, if you've been through a layoff, if you've been finding things hard. I have a free seminar coming up next week. All you need to do is go on down to fed.pmsucceed.com and sign up. No questions asked. I am going to be giving away Lead Your Comeback, my new book. I'm going to be teaching you from Lead Your Comeback. So for those of you who are kind of like, oh, can I put my feet in the water and test the waters for project management? Absolutely. I invite you. Come on down to fed.pmsucceed.com. Here's a curriculum at a very high level. We're going to talk about project management basics. So some of this stuff is going to be applicable to your CAPM. I'm going to teach you process groups and knowledge areas. I'm going to teach you Agile, Scrum, and so on for career growth. And then we're going to talk about career strategy and landing your next role. Okay, this is happening 10th to 14th of March. It's going to be at 11 a.m. Eastern. Remember, the time changes in the US this weekend. So just do the time adjustments if you're on the West Coast and show up. And I look forward to seeing you. But for those of you who are employed and you're just looking to get CAPM certified, this is the link you want to go to. Okay? I wish you all the best. Do you have any questions? Put in any questions, concerns, comments into the chat. I'll be more than happy to answer them right now. Questions, concerns, comments. Okay. I don't see any questions. I don't hear any concerns. I wish you all the best in whatever you're doing. Okay? You can do it. You can get certified, just like many of my other students have. I wish you all the very best. And if there are no questions, I'll say put the questions in the comments. Hello, my friend EM. Nice to see you here. Thank you for sending in the chat. It's always good to see some human activity. And I know that sometimes when I do these seminars, you're not able to chat in, or you might wonder, is Phil live or is this a recording? Well, I share these chats so that you know it is live. Do you have any questions or concerns about the exam? Any project management questions? Is there anything you've been wanting to know about that maybe you're getting ready for PMP and you got a question? Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate that, EM. Thank you very much. Thanks for checking out my stuff and thanks for coming on board. And honestly, if you know of anyone who can benefit from the federal layoff program, please send this to them, fed.pmsucceed.com. I should put that in the chat as well for those of you who are keen. Put the hyperlink in the chat, fed.pmsucceed.com. All right, send this to family, friends, people who might have been laid off. Maybe you have someone who's sleeping on your couch. I was that person on the couch. I was on my sister's couch when she said, hey, there's an opportunity. And that changed my life. I ended up getting employment at Citigroup in the United Kingdom back in the day, all because someone said, hey, have you seen this? I went from working in a warehouse, back breaking work, to working in the penthouse. When I say penthouse, I'm talking about working at Citigroup, Cedar Power in Canary Wharf, London. I went from being disgruntled, broke, busted, and disgusted to being king of the hill, only because someone shared an opportunity. So you just never know where you're sharing the opportunity will go. It could change someone's life. All right. Thank you very much, my friends. I'll see you in the program, or I'll see you online somewhere. All the very best. Au revoir.